Welcome back to Universe X. Today, we are about to have a discussion piece, all right? And the title kind of says it all. I want to talk about our pricing structure, okay? So, before we get into the normal meat and potatoes, I just want to once again thank everybody who's been supporting the channel. You are very much so valued. I love reading comments, responses, emails, just like DMs on Facebook. It's pretty humbling. So this is awesome. But we are still continuing to climb. The road to 1K still going strong. So any new subscriber, any old subscriber, any person watching the video, any like, comment, all count. I got some cool stuff planned in the future for giving away to the people that help make this channel, and I would like to keep up the momentum. So this is about to be a cool video, at least I think, because I'm not going to be going over any spoilers. I'm not going to be going over like just lots of things. I actually just want to talk about something I think could change in the game for the better. So, with our pricing structure, I think there is a fundamental issue that's only being more so exemplified in the fact that we have a pandemic currently going around. So from the beginning of this game, we have always had TPs, okay? Packs that could only be obtained via tournaments at locals, and then sometimes, you know, the larger tournaments like store championships and whatnot gave them out as well. This was always kind of a bit of a stigma because some areas were more store heavy than others. I live in the DMV, and so at one point I could go to Dream Wizards, I could go to Curio Cavern, I could go like to a couple more places in the area, the Island Games, rest its soul, when it was still up, and go to these tournaments. But you could be in another place where you have to drive hours to get to a locals, and that's just not worth going to locals. So that was kind of wild. But this disparity allows you to really kind of feel the burn when you're not living in an area where you can have games. So that is always going to be kind of hurtful. No matter whether we're in a pandemic or not, you know, like you're going to sometimes be in an area where you can't get to these places, and therefore you're gonna have to rely on the secondary market to get your TPs. Now, when this first started, the game wasn't really big enough. But now, and also the important thing is, not only was the game not big enough, but the structure of the TPs was very different. I'm gonna go over that in a moment. But now we're at a point where the structure of the TPs, I believe, is harmful to the fact that not everybody can have access to them. And now when people do get access to them, they set the market at ridiculous prices. And it's not a matter of if you don't like it, don't buy it, because sometimes decks are made off of their TPs. And if you want to play the deck, you need these cards. And if you need those cards, you have to be at the mercy of whatever the market is, which is generally way more expensive than what the game is actually set at. Because Dragon Ball Super is honestly, outside of the secondary market, a very affordable game. So I just wanted to kind of go into that. You know, when we first started tournament packs, everything in the set were options. They were not must includes, they were options. You had things like Proud Spark Vados, okay? This thing literally says double strike. If your leader card attacks a battle card, both this card and that card gain 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. Okay, she was a god, she was Vados. This is just basically a 4-drop that was a double strike 20k that when your leader swung, your leader goes up to 15 or 20k, and then she goes up to a 25k. Solid, red, thick value. Not an include, not a must include. You have Super Saiyan 3 Goku. This dude just comes down and he gives all your red cards and your red leader cards plus 5,000. And then at the end of the turn, he returns his card to the hand. This card was really fun with aggro, but again, it was not needed. It is a 3-drop. It is kind of thick and it requires a board to come over. Could you include them? Yes. Could it end somebody's life? Yes. Was it going to ruin the game? No. Okay. Light of Hope Trunks. This person basically was just able to boost itself and your leader if you have 5 or more energy. Great for late game plays. Actually, a lot like the Goku, except if instead of rushing, this was for the longer game. Again, great card, not a must have. Trunks, Homeboy is just going to gain power when you have 3 or more energy. And if you have a Trunks Future card in your battle area, this guy goes down to a 1 cost. So he just becomes a strong swinger, 15k for 1. See all the, like the theme. Look at this guy. 5-drop in green. You can cheat him out later with the Cell combo. But like, it's just, these things are not necessarily game breaking. Now this is kind of themed. This is the only themed one really. It requires you to have Frieza in the grave. But you also had Clan of Terror Frieza, which is just a 4-drop yellow card. The point is, all these cards were cards that you could play, but not cards that you needed to play, making them options. You did want to get the TPs because you wanted the chance to use them, but you could definitely you could definitely win entire tournaments and not have any of them in your deck. Now, when we rolled around to TP2, these things sort of changed. And when I mean these things sort of changed, they printed the, at the time, best card in the game, I would say, almost, like outside of Sensu Bean, which was this guy. Okay? This dude was the only Death Blade, or Doom Blade in the game. He was the only card that could just come down, point, and kill. Barrier wasn't in the game at this point. Okay? So for 4 energy, you could kill anything on the board. And that's what made this guy shoot up to an $80 card, sometimes highballed at 100. It was the first card of its kind, and it really did sort of break certain matches, because when you were running, blue-green Soul Striker, if you didn't have this card, your best destruction was essentially Beerus, because Beerus could point and kill anything, but you have to have a certain, my cats are throwing down again, you had to have a certain amount of energy to play Beerus. This guy just came out on the turn he was supposed to, and that is a huge, huge factor in why this card got so expensive. So that's like really cool, right? But now we get to this current set. All right. Now just think about set 11, Vermilion Bloodline. You had cards in there where I feel like meet this model, and you have cards in here where I feel like don't meet this model, and you have cards in there that are super, super dead. Cards that meet the model. Brainwash No More, Mass Saiyan Brainwash No More. He's at 30k, overthrown for 6, doesn't cost any energy to play. When he gets played, you can put 3 cards from your warp back to your drop zone to fix your drop zone. Set up for more plays that involve the graveyard. And you can play 1 black during your combo step in order to activate his effect, which you crit yourself, but from that particular battle, you are not taking any damage. So if somebody swings you a quadruple strike and you use that Mass Saiyan's effect, you are going to only crit yourself and then not take any damage. This card is a lot of what I liked about the original TP sets. He could be used in any deck that uses black energy. He is a free overrealm. He also is able to fix cards, but he can fit in Dark Rally very well because he's a 30k that sets up your graveyard and refunds some of its costs. So when you use your leader skill on its awakened side, you have 6 engrave, only 1 more, and you have a free body. I think that, and that free body could be swinging with the overrealm and then sacking him later in your turn with the active battle. I think he's a very, very good card. However, in the same set, you have the opposite of that model. You have TP 1-drop Broly, who is a card who literally pushed Red Broly from tier 1.25-ish into straight top of tier 1, just because of what he's able to do at the beginning of the game. And with this, I feel like it's just not really good, like, planning. You are taking a card from a limited set that not everybody has access to, making it essential to one of the best decks in the format. And again, this makes the problem that I spoke about earlier even worse. Now you have the top dog of that format only being accessible to people who have brick and mortar stores, or worse off, who are able to obtain tournament packs because they have brick and mortar stores but don't hold tournaments, allowing them to crack the packs and essentially make it a walking store. Now, if you're doing this, I don't hate on you. Do you, boo-boo. But this makes a very weird space for people who want to play the game, who don't have stores around them, who order their boxes from online and hope they can get what they can get, who pre-order their cases online and pull their cards and play from that. So this is kind of just an issue. Now, it does hurt, I think, because again, I have to stress this enough. I don't have these problems. I know people I can buy from. I am selling cards all the time online. I can buy cards online. I also have locals near me. I don't have this problem, but this is more geared towards the people that do. Because in all honesty, what keeps a game afloat aren't the competitive players like myself, like my friends. We will buy singles. We will buy boxes when we need to, when we want to crack packs. But for the most part, we will buy singles. We will sell singles and prize cards. We will buy more singles and prize cards. This is for the people who get discouraged from playing the game, who would have normally bought box after box after box as long as it made them happy, but are discouraged because they can't get cards to their favorite decks. They can't get cards to the top decks because they're gated. Now, I do believe there's a couple ways to fix this, and this is gonna be a little shorter because the first part was the steps. I feel like how to fix this. One is the soft line approach. I think we could have a revert back to the old model, okay? And when I say that, I mean, I think all the cards should be like Black Mass Sand. Brainwash no more. I don't think we should have cards like TP Broly. I don't think archetype specific cards belong in TP sets. And when you look at the current TP, they're still doing it, okay? Gogeta, well, so the Gogeta cards, the fusion honestly should have been part of the set. Now the Supreme Kai, I think she can actually be in the TP because Supreme Kai can help a couple of black decks that use unisons. It just should not, like the Gogeta itself should not have been in there. When you're looking at other stuff, you have two cards that specifically work for Whis in the TPs, and that's not cool, okay? So I think if we reverted to a point where you only had cards in the TP set that could benefit mini decks but aren't needed, looking at things like Scientist Fu, looking at things like, you know, Sun Gohan, I think Brainwash no more. Like, you could really have TP sets that have people still wanting them, but also not barring people from playing the decks they want to play. I don't think that any archetype specific card belongs in the TP set because that automatically makes the deck gated. Now, the other approach that I would want to look at is a hardline approach. I have played Magic the Gathering. I have played Yu-Gi-Oh! For quite some time. And now I'm playing Dragon Ball Super. I think my favorite tournament structure was Yu-Gi-Oh's Turbo Packs. And what they were doing was they essentially kept in mind the best cards of the last format or so and made a pack where, you know, if this card was just a secret rare, right, for 18 sets ago, they might reprint it as a common in the Turbo Pack. So if you're winning tournaments, you had access to these cards, and they could still be sold for $20, $25, because the original card was $70 or $80 because it's a secret rare from 8 sets ago. Awesome. But they'd also take cards that were commons, like Dragon's Ravine, if you guys played the game. Dragon's Ravine, crucial card in Dragoonities, as well as Elemental Dragons once they had to get revamped after some hits happened. With Dragon Ravine, that card was always a common from a starter deck. You could never get it max rarity, but in their tournament packs, they put it as a super rare and put it out. That card at one point was a $45 card as a super rare. And this, it just goes on from there. They turn certain cards to ultimate. And I think that this would have been cool. Like, just imagine if in TP 2 or 3, instead of having completely different cards, they had a TP foil Senzu Bean with alternate art. Don't tell me that card wouldn't have been $40 off the rip, if not more, okay? Let's go into this current format. Instead of making, I don't know, instead of making the TPs have different cards, okay? Let's say that for set 12, since they'd have to be able to look at previous sets to make this decision, let's make Broly's Red Ball, the Red Dragon Ball for Dark Broly, turn that into a TP foil, okay? All right, while you're at it, turned Secret Identity Mass Sand into a TP foil. What else could we possibly do while we are at it? I'm just thinking about like cards that are just used very much so, that don't necessarily have the rarities to match. We already have Judge, but give us TP foil Supreme Kai or Champa. Like, Literally look at the best cards currently going into mini decks and just turn them into TP foils. And what you're going to get here is a pack of cards that everybody already uses, but don't have the rarities to flex. And those people who want to max rate the deck will look at it. You cannot tell me that a TP foil Dark Broly Ball would not hit the gates at 20 to 30 automatically and fluctuate depending on how good the deck is doing. Mass Sand, like the Mass Sand Secret Identity, that card coming in a TP foil would probably be automatically a $15 card, if not more. And these are to say, like, some of these would be much higher. Like, I'm not maybe necessarily giving the best choices, but I do think that this is the way that we could better help the TP packs. Make them higher rarity cards of cards that are already being used nonstop. Because at the end of the day, people still want to max rate their decks, and people will still pay for these cards, but it won't stop people from playing what they need to play. How would this help booster sets though? Because this is another thing. Right now, nobody cares about packs. You get them at the opening of the event, and every now and then, if you can get some for free, you're like, okay, cool, maybe I'll pull a secret rare in here. Honestly, I think there should be more SRs per set. If you look at the cards that are going to TPs that are really good for archetypes, I think they should automatically be SRs. TP1 Broly, yes, it would make Broly a much more popular deck, but that card was overtuned to begin with and it shouldn't have been there. But I think that should have been in the set as a higher rarity. And when stuff like that happens, when your cards in your set are much, much better, the set becomes more profitable. Remember in set 3, where even if you didn't get, like, you know, even if you didn't snatch well in your TPs, you could still get a pack and pack a green Kale and flip it. You could pack a red Jiren and flip it. You could pack a UI Goku and flip it. Back then, it was still good to get packs because they had flippable cards. Cards that you were looking at and going, these are really good, these are used in top decks, these are very powerful, I would like to use them. I would like to sell them. So I think if some of these cards they were reserving for the TP packs were in the normal set, especially the archetype ones, the sets would still be valid pricing. You know, if you can get TP1 Broly in a set, you'd still be able to flip it. Like, you would literally still want packs. It's just, I think that the way they're doing things benefits them in 0 ways and only benefits the secondary market. And the secondary market is not what keeps a game alive. What keeps a game alive are its sales. At the bottom line, at the end of the day, it's sales. So yeah, that is my video. I hope it wasn't too much of a rant. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my discussion. And I'm actually only coming back with another video that's going to be a discussion video about a very hot topic, and I hope you guys enjoy it. It will be dropping on Tuesday. So thank you guys for watching. Again, thank you for all the support, and I will see you guys next time you decide to join Universe X. If it's your first time, think about leaving a subscribe, notification button. If it's not your first time, join in the dialogue. We got the Discord in the description, and we love to talk with everybody. We love to test, love to get in there. So yeah, thank you, and I'll see you next time. Peace.